Om. 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 Sahana vavatu. Sahano bhunaktu. Saha viryam karavavai. Tejasvinavadhitamastu. Ma vidvishavahai. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sairam, everyone. Just to recollect where we are in the study of the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, we have studied up to about 50 odd verses. Sri Krishna is at the moment discoursing on Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi Yoga is the use of Buddhi to seek that which is Atman and to discard all that is Anatman. The fruits of the world are Anatman. God alone is Atman. So we have to do actions, whatever is meant to be done, as we have authority over those actions, but we should not seek the fruits thereof. That is Buddhi Yoga. And through that, Krishna says we will reach a state of samatva or equanimity, and the duality will not affect us. And he calls it karmasu kaushalam, yoga karmasu kaushalam. That is the best way to perform action. That's what we saw last week. We'll continue from where we left off. Karmajam buddhiyukta hi phalam tyaktva manishinaha janma bandha vinirmuktaha padam gacchantyanamaya. Karmajam buddhiyukta hi phalam tyaktva manishinaha janma bandha vinirmuktaha padam gacchantyanamaya. Karmajam buddhiyukta hi phalam tyaktva manishinaha janma bandha vinirmuktaha padam gacchantyanamaya. Let's look at areas where we have to pay attention to the pronunciation. Karmajam, buddhi. I think we have already looked at it before. There is the second letter is the compound letter made up of id and ud. The second letter in that compound letter has to be aspirated. And then phalam. Phala is the second letter in the pa varga. It has to be aspirated. Tyaktva manishinaha, the shi is the cerebral sha, so tip of the tongue should point upwards towards the roof of the mouth. Janma bandha, the here is aspirated. Bandha, fourth letter in the the class of consonants, it has to be aspirated. Padam gachant. Here, the second letter is a compound consonant made up of two letters from the cha class, cha and cha. So gacha. Okay, so just pay attention to that. Other than that, we'll continue. Look at the sandhi split. Karmajam stands alone without any sandhi related changes. Buddhi yuktaha, the visarga gets dropped because of sandhi. Bhukti yuktaha becomes bhukti yuttahi. Phalam tyaktva manishinaha, there are no other sandhi related changes. Janma bandha vinirmuktaha, it's one compound word. Samasa, there are three words actually, Janma, Bandha, and Vinirmukta. But there are no something related changes. Padam, stands alone. Gachanti and Anamayam come together to make Gachantyanamayam. Because in Thi or Thi and A becomes Thya. Thi plus A becomes Thya. So Gachantya. Okay. Gachantyat Gachantyanatmana. Okay. Now we will look at the word to word meaning. Karmajam. Karma is action. Jam is that which is born of action. The fruits are the ones which are born of action. Birth is also born of action. Karmajam, anything born of action is karmajam. Buddhi yuktaha means those people, I think, I would say those united with buddhi. So those who have all their actions are united with buddhi, buddhiyutta. He means indeed. Phalam, that's fruits. Tyaktva. Tyaktva means having given up. Tyaja means to give up. Tyaktva means to having given up. Manishinaha. So Manishinaha is those who are capable of thinking clearly, the wise ones. Manishinaha is the wise ones who are clear in their thinking. Janma, bandha, vinirmukta. Janma is birth. Bandha is bondage. Vinirmukta means those who are free. Mukta, vinirmukta means the two prefixes are given to the mukta. Nirmukta, vinirmukta. Vi and nirmukta, they're completely free from the bondage of birth. Because karmajam, that's also a fruit which comes to everyone. So these are people who are completely free from the bondage of birth. Padam, that is that state. What state? Padam gachanti, that means they will attain a particular state. What is that state? Anamayam. Anamayam means without disease. Niramayam, anamayam, these are words which are used to demonstrate that someone who is healthy has no diseases. So what is that state where they're going without any disease? So they're going to a place where there are no hospitals, things like that people may think. So many of the commentators give other meanings, but I have stuck to Anamayam as free from disease. When we read Swami's discourse, it will clear because Swami is using about disease, because the oldest disease is ahankara. It's called Adi Vyadi. Okay, so the original disease is ahankara. As soon as that goes, everyone may get rid of all other diseases, but ahankara is a disease which we have to get over. So whoever has given up, the desire for fruits will go to that place. Go to that place where the ahankara itself drop off. So this is what Krishna is saying. We'll look at the summary of the verse. The wise ones united with buddhi, having given up the fruits born of action, free from bondage of birth, indeed attain the state which is free from disease. Okay. So we will look at some excerpts of Swami's discourses. Shivaratri is a day when one tries to establish friendship between the mind and God. Shivaratri makes one aware of the fact that the same divinity is all pervasive, that it is to be found everywhere. In our daily experiences, there are a number of instances which reveal the existence of divinity in every person. Consider a cinema. On the screen, we see rivers in flood, engulfing all surrounding land. Even though the scene is filled with flood waters, the screen does not get wet by even a drop of water. At another time, on the same screen, we see volcanoes erupting with tongues of flame. But the screen is not burnt. The screen, which provides the basis for all these pictures, is not affected by any of them. Likewise, in the life of man, good or bad, joy or sorrow, birth or death, will be coming and going. But they do not affect the Atma. In the cinema of life, the screen is the Atma. It is Shiva. It is Shankara. It is divinity. When one understands its principle, one will be able to understand, enjoy, and find fulfillment in life. Shankara, Ishvara refers to the one who is endowed with all types of Aishwarya, wealth. The types of wealth that we enjoy in the worldly sense are not what we mean by Aishwarya. Everything in the phenomenal world, every person, every bit of matter that you see has this principle of Aishwarya in it. This Aishwarya is nothing other than Ishvara. In other words, the entire phenomenal world is made up of Ishvara. This has also been described as Shatamatra Chaitanya, pure consciousness. This principle of Chaitanya cannot be directly seen. It exists unseen. It is eternal. It is permanent. It is all pervasive. This is the Aishwarya that permeates and fills this world. This is the very embodiment of Ishvara itself. For this principle of Ishvara, there are two aspects. One is Saguna, attributeful, and Sakara, formful. And the other is Nirguna, attributeless, Nirakara, formless. Associated with the mind and thoughts and responding to the joys and sorrows, the pain and sufferings of human beings, various forms of divinity have been visualized. These are the Saguna and Sakara aspects of Ishvara. In this context, we have the Trinity, Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara. These are associated with the three gunas or attributes, Rajas, Sattva, and Tamas. Rajas is associated with Brahma, Sattva with Vishnu, and Tamas with Shiva. The Rajasic attribute associated with Brahma is represented by the sound A. The sound U is the manifested form of Vishnu, and is the form of the Shiva principle. These three forms comprising the Trinity and are not permanent. They are not permanent because they have taken form. Anything which has a form cannot be permanent. In the worship of the divine attributes, the Trinity exists in each individual as auspicious witnesses. But there is one syllable consisting of A, U, which is the one underlying all the three forms. That is the Omkara. It is an expression of Nirgunakara, the attributeless divine principle. Whatever number of births we may take and however long we may go on worshipping these three forms, we will never be able to free ourselves from the cycle of birth and death. If one wants to get rid of birth forever, one has to worship the Nirguna Nirakara, the formless and attributeless principle, which is represented by the Omkara. Only when we get rid of action will we be free from the delusion that the world is real. When we are rid of delusion, then we will also be free from the illusion of Maya. And only then will we be free from sorrow and will finally be able to reach the Paratattva, the transcendent principle. This may also be described as Paramatma, the transcendent principle within us. As long as we have the mind and the tendencies, we can only be described as Jivatma. Jivatma and Paramatma are not two different entities. The characteristic of Jivatma is to waste the entire life in worldly things and associate the mind with the phenomenal world. This is the externalized vision, which is full of illusion and delusion. If you turn your mind inwards, it will be free from delusion. When it is associated with delusion, it is Jiva Tattva. When it is free from delusion and illusion, then it is one with the principle of Paramatma. If there's a boil on the body, we put some ointment on it and cover it with a bandage until the whole thing heals. If you do not apply the ointment and tie the bandage around the boil, it is likely to become septic and can cause great harm later on. Now and then we will have to clean it with pure water, apply the ointment again, and put on a new bandage. In the same way, in our life, there is this particular boil which has come up in our body in the form of I. If we want to really cure this boil of I, we'll have to wash it every day with the waters of love. Apply the ointment of faith on it and tie the bondage of humility around it. The bondage of humility, the ointment of faith, and the waters of love will be able to cure this disease that is erupted with this boil of I. With the help of the mind, a man can rise from the level of the human to the highest level of divinity. But he can also descend to the animal nature or the demonic level. Once you turn the mind towards worldly objects, it tends to become animal and demonic in nature. If the mind is turned upwards towards God and freed from the thought process, it tends to merge with the Nirguna, Nirakara, and thus become liberated. The most important reason for bondage is giving too much freedom to the mind. For example, when an animal is tethered to a post, it will not be able to go to another place and spoil it. It will not be able to show anger or violence or do harm to any person. But if it's untied and let loose, then it can roam over various fields, destroy the crops, and cause loss and harm to others. It gets beaten for the mischief done by it. Similarly, the mind must be bound by certain regulations and limits. As long as man lives within certain limits and disciplines, certain rules and regulations, he will be able to maintain a good name and lead a happy and useful life. Once he crosses the limits, he will go astray. You want to study well, you want to pass and get the first class. After that, you want to get a good position and you want to get married and live a happy family life. And then you want to have children and you want them to be intelligent and do well in life. For these kinds of desires, there's no limit. They will keep on multiplying. The reason for this multiplication of wants is that you think you are simply a man. But that is not sufficient to keep you free from suffering. In addition to considering yourself a man, you have to put a number of questions to yourself. To what caste do I belong? Am I educated person? Am I an educated person or not? Where am I staying? Am I conducting myself in keeping with this sacred privilege of staying in the most sacred Prashanti Nilayam, in the immediate presence of Swami? Only when you put all these questions to yourself, you'll be able to conduct yourself as true human beings. If one merely thinks he is a man and is entitled to pursue all kinds of desires and enjoyments, is likely to behave like an animal or even like a demon or demon. My caste is the caste of humanity. I live in the sacred land of Bharat. I am born of a good family. I am an educated person, not an ignorant one. And I am here in the sacred Prashantalayam in the presence of Swami. When you have such answers and use them as guideposts for conducting yourself, you will not go astray. Today is described as Shivaratri. Ratri means night. What is the significance of night? The night is another word for darkness. Shiva means auspiciousness. So Shivaratri speaks of auspiciousness, which is inherent in darkness. It refers to the wisdom which exists in the midst of ignorance. Ignorance and wisdom are not two different things. They're basically the same. They are associated with Dvaita. They are the opposite polarities of the same underlying principle. The state that transcends both wisdom and ignorance is Paratattva. It is a stage which is not associated with any comings or goings, where birth and death do not occur. So long as there is birth for the body, death has to follow. What is it that has taken birth? Is it the Atma? No. It's only the body which has taken birth. You are Atma. You are the permanent entity. We consider this body as inert. But truly speaking, this body is not inert. Even in the physical matter making up this body, there is the divine consciousness. The form of the body is constantly changing. That's why the phenomenal world is described as Jagat. In the word Jagat, Ja means taking birth, Gat means dying. Jagat means which has birth and death, a process which repeats itself over and over again. In this world, there is nothing which is free from this birth and death, be it a body, any object or thing. All are continually undergoing changes. This Shivaratri is a day when one tries to establish friendship between the mind and God. Shivaratri makes one aware of the fact that the same divinity is all pervasive and is to be found everywhere. It is said that Shiva lives in Kailasha. But where is Kailasha? Kailasha is our own joy, our own bliss. It means that Ishvara lives in the Kailasha of delight. If we can develop the sense of joy and delight in our mind, that itself is Kailasha. How can one get this joy? It comes when we develop purity and steadiness and sacredness. Then the heart becomes filled with peace and bliss. Then your heart itself will be Kailasha. And Shiva will be there in the sanctum sanctorum of your heart, within the temple which is your body. At first look, everyone appears to be a devotee, but individuals respond differently to different circumstances. If you keep a ball of iron and dry leaf side by side, when there's no wind, both of them will be firm and steady. But when a breeze blows, the dry leaf will be carried away for miles together. The iron ball will remain firm and steady. It is if one has true love. If one has true love and firm faith in God, one will be like an iron ball, steady and undisturbed. If one is like a leaf running away on account of difficulties and problems, it's a travesty to call such a person a devotee. We should develop pure and steady love and faith. There are no permanent mothers in the world. The only permanent mother is the Divine Mother. Swami often reminds you of your spiritual family where the truth is your father, love is your mother, wisdom is your son, peace is your daughter, devotion is your brother, and yogis are your friends. In the spiritual path, these are your true relatives who will always accompany you. When you have this kind of relationship, when you treasure this kind of friendship, you will be able to break the bonds of the world and become free. Light has value only when there is darkness, otherwise, it has no value by itself. Therefore, in times of trouble and sorrow, whenever problems arise, evoke the principle of divinity, which will shed illumination and light in moments of darkness. There's no use in just thinking of Shivaratri once a year. Every minute, every day, every night, you should think of divinity and sanctify your time. For the time principle, truly speaking, is Shiva. You yourself are Shiva. Try to understand and recognize this principle of Shiva Tattva, which is your own reality. So this is a discourse Swami gave during Shivaratri 1985. I picked up the entire discourse because I thought every part is very nice. Because Anamaya is a state of free from sorrow, disease, troubles. To get to that, that is the Shiva Tattva, that's the Paramatma Tattva. As long as we are looking towards the world and the fruits which accrue in the world, we will always be bound. The bondage of birth and death will continue to plague us. So I thought it's very appropriate to read this discourse. I have another short discourse, so let's read that as well. People aspire for mukti, liberation. They have no idea of what constitutes liberation. Man seeks liberation from the ills of the body, the senses, the mind, the intellect, and the antakarana, internal motivator. All these are no doubt necessary, but liberation in the ultimate sense consists in liberation from the cycle of birth and death. This means that one should redeem one's present life so that one is free from rebirth. Most of the people's diseases today have the origin in the mind. Desires and worries are the cause of many ailments of the heart, the kidney, etc. You can test the truth of this statement in a simple way. I have no diseases of any kind. I am hale and hearty. Lead a life of courage and you will be all right. The moment you start feeling your pulse out of suspicion that it is weak, you'll find you'll find it weak. It's your mind that's the cause of the weakness of the pulse. Many diseases are allowed to grow entirely due to mental factors. Men should pray to God for freedom from rebirth so they will not have the bodies which are bound to be afflicted with diseases. There's no need for rigorous spiritual exercises to secure freedom from rebirth. Pure love of God is enough. This exemplified by the gopis immersed always in the love of Krishna. They were always happy and contented. Okay, we will go to the next verse. Yadate moha kalilam buddhir vyatitarishyati. Tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. Yada te moha kalilam buddhir yatitarasyati. Buddhir vyatitarishyati. Tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. Yada te moha kalilam buddhir vyatitarishyati. Tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. We'll pay attention to some pronunciation related letters. Only one is there, buddhi. Buddhir vyati tarishyati. Tarishyati also the sh is cerebral sh. Other than that, there are no aspirated consonants in this verse. We can look at the sandhi split. Yada te, no changes. Moha kalilam, I've just put a dash just to show those two words, but there is no Sandhi-related changes. Buddhir Vyatitarishyati is made up of two words, Buddhi and Vyatitarishyati. The Visarga becomes Ir, so that's how you get Buddhir Vyatitarishyati. Tada Gantasi Nirvedam, all stands, all of the rest of the words in the second line stand apart, no Sandhi-related changes. We look at word-to-word meaning. Yada, when. They, your. Moha Kalilam. Moha means delusion. Attachment also is moha, but delusion generally. Kalila is that which troubles. It is mixed up. It's something we can't get through. This world is a maze. And so Moha Kalilam is that. It is creation. Buddhihi, that is Buddhi is intellect. Vyatitarishyati. Vyatitarishyati means will cross. Vyati means go past a lot. Okay, cross beyond. Tada, then, when the buddhi crosses over this confusing mass of delusion of the world, tada, then, gantasi. Gantasi is a second person. You will reach, you will attain. Nirvedam. Nirvedam means Veda is to know with. Nirvedam means you will not want to know anything. Disregard. You will have disregard for shrotavyasya. That which is to be heard. All good things which are to be heard. Shrutasya, but already you have heard. You will have disregard for both because you have crossed over. Once you cross over, you don't have any need for the instructions to cross over. Because all that which we hear, the Shrutis and Shastras, tell you how to cross over. Once you cross over, you don't have a need for this. So that is a state which a person who is fully united with Buddhi attains. They get over the Moha Kalilam, the maze of delusion in this world. Now, a summary. Let's take a look at the summary. When your buddhi crosses beyond the confusing mass of delusion, then you attain disregard for what had been heard, what has been heard, and what is yet to be heard. I have a few excerpts. I couldn't find anything very specific, but I thought a few of them sort of mention what this is. Take the case of the Bhagavad Gita, to which reference was made. When and where was it taught? On the battlefield in the midst of the opposing forces to solve a mental crisis. It is when such crises affect man that the Lord starts his mission of instruction. For those who have realized the goal, there's no need. For those who have known neither goal nor path, neither thirst nor yearning, it's of no use. It's only to those who are afflicted by doubt, swinging from yes to no, that instruction will be useful. A mental crisis solved by the word of God. So if once we cross over the mental crisis, there's no need for teaching. That's what Krishna Swami says. I mean, there are three categories of people, Swami always says. There are people who will never benefit from any teaching because they are not paying attention. Then there are people who already know they don't need teaching because they already they've freed themselves. But in the middle, there are people who neither here nor there who still want to grow and improve. For them, the Lord teaches. Okay. We will read the next excerpt. Students, spirituality essentially means realizing oneness with God. God and you are not separate. Once you acquire this conviction, there's no need for any kind of spiritual sadhana. This oneness should not be a mere intellectual concept. It should be a living reality. then you will experience true freedom, the freedom of spirit, freedom of the spirit, divorced from any association with the body and the mind. When you experience your inherent divinity, you'll be free from sorrows and difficulties. The body is the temple of self. The body is the temple of the self. The world is a structure raised on one strong pillar, I. For when this I is dormant during sleep, deep sleep, there's no world. So far as you are concerned, you are all alone when you sleep. Before you were born, there was no world for you. After you die, here is no world of which you are conscious. To get this jnana, knowledge fixed, you have to pass through the preparatory schools of karma and upasana. Karma, dedicated activity, helps to cleanse the heart of egoistic impulses. Upasana, contemplation, helps to focus attention on the universal and the absolute. Then jnana emerges. This is what the Shastra referred to as the conjunction of the three rivers. In the poem he read now, once you win the jnana, you are the equal to the of the wisest, for there's nothing more to know. Man is trying to know everything without understanding his true self. Know thyself, then you will know everything. This is what the Upanishad says. Try to know and experience that by which everything is known and experienced. That is Atmic bliss, which is eternal and supreme. True happiness lies in union with God. If you are with the world, you will never get happiness. The human heart, sorry, the human heart can be compared to Kshira Sagara, the ocean of milk. But today it has become Kshara Sagara, ocean of salinity, salty ocean. Lord Vishnu dwells in the ocean of milk, which means that he resides in our heart. But if we make our heart into a Kshara Sagara, then whales and sharks, bad qualities will enter. Human heart should be pure, only then can Lord Vishnu reside in it. If you understand God, you will not search for him outside. God is within you, in you, above you, below you, around you. There's no one nearer than God. God is nearer than your physical mother, so worship God as your mother, who is the embodiment of truth. I begin my discourses with a shloka, verse, or a poem and conclude it with a bhajan, devotional song. Do you know what they are? The first shloka or poem is like a plate. The discourse can be compared to the various delicious items that are served on the plate. And the bhajan at the end is like a plate covering the delicious items. Do not treat this as a mandu, medicine. They were taking only a little of it. Treat this as Vindu, banquet, and partake of the delicious items that I serve to the maximum extent. Experience and enjoy this banquet. This is a discourse Swami gave the 25th of September 1998. This is what I had prepared for today. I will not be able to take any questions today as I will be traveling. Please note down any questions, and next week when I'm in town, when we have a live session, you can ask those questions. Thanks for understanding, and we will close the session with prayer, Samasaloka prayer. Om समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु। समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु। समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु। ओम शांति शांति शांति। Sai Ram everyone.